Are you in need of a game with Vikings? Violence. Betrayal. And wife jokes.
They butcher our animals, steal our bread and ale. I thank Freya they have not yet taken me.
Maybe next time.
Well then, come with me now as we take a little look at Norse Oath of Blood, a Viking-themed strategy game, and yes, this is a sponsored video, so thanks to Tripwire Interactive for that. This is largely a story-driven game following the story of Gunnar and his sister Sigrid, who live a nice cozy life in their little town until their father, the Jarl of the town, is betrayed by one of his own men, Steinar, who swiftly sticks him with the pointy end and proceeds to massacre the village, so Gunnar and Sigrid have no choice but to head off. So they make their escape, sailing away to the nearby refuge of their uncle, who they ask for help, and he says, nah, you're alright, I don't want to get my men killed, but I've got this tiny bit of land you can have, you can take a couple of guys and start your own settlement, and that is the story here. It's you going and starting a settlement, building it up from scratch, 0 to hero, and eventually going to avenge your father. So you start with this, just a bit of land, a couple of huts, and you're gonna build yourself up from there. There's resources to gather, various buildings to construct to further your technology and grow your settlement, and so you'll go from this and eventually up to this, and then eventually further on from this. And you're just one settlement in a campaign map of many which you'll unlock as you go. These other settlements can be traded with to get the goods you need. You can also acquire more herdmen, which you are going to need to grow and to do the missions with. And this is a turn-based campaign, so you will have missions pop up, they'll have a bit of a story, they might even be a story mission itself. And this is of course where the real fun of the game is. To do these missions is where your herdmen come in, and they'll start off looking like pretty plain villagers until you build yourself up and outfit them better so they look like actual Vikings ready for war. Herdmen come in 5 different classes which have different weapons, different armor, different abilities that give them different roles in the battles. Your herdmen will gain XP, level up, and you can choose the abilities they gain along the way, but be warned, herdmen can die. You'll be using your resources to outfit them from the various traders you'll unlock along the way, so that's most of the campaign side of the game. The first thing that actually struck me with this game is how good the facial animations are in the cutscenes, and they actually look like they're saying what they're saying. Here's a good example.
If you know what's good for you, you'll get back on that boat and row for the horizon.
Do you think we'd run from the likes of you?
So be it. We'll get a good price for these fuckers, if there's any left alive!
The game overall is pretty light-hearted and doesn't take itself too seriously, and mostly stays in the realms of reality. There's no magic or monsters, well, apart from this.
He's mine!
So that's a plus to me. The only minor thing that irks me with the world is that everyone looks a little bit too clean. Their clothes aren't really muddy, their skin is perfectly clear. They could have maybe been roughened up around the edges a bit more. The game also sometimes has a more adult or adolescent sense of humor.
Gunnar! In the woods. I was just having some alone time.
So to the best part of the game then, doing the missions themselves. When you go, you'll get to prepare, you'll choose the herdman you want to take on the mission, typically 4 to 6, the mission decides how many people will come along each time. You'll outfit them and check their equipment as you please, and then get in there. The missions will have you running through a level of sorts. There is some exploration to be done, things to be found, resources to be gathered. You can also find buffs for your party or different ways into battles which can be more advantageous for you. But as you run around, you'll come across these little red eye barriers, and when you enter, this is where a battle begins. With a deployment phase, first of all, you get to choose where your boys go, and so these are turn-based strategy battles, and for me, I'd kind of gone off turn-based strategy games in the last couple of years, and that's largely just because battles in these kind of games can sometimes take goddamn forever, and I just don't have the time. But this game actually manages to keep battles flowing pretty quickly, and they actually don't take too long at all, which I really do appreciate. It's also not overcomplicated, there's not millions of stats and abilities, but there's plenty of depth there to keep it interesting. Now of course your different classes and characters will have different abilities to use, but it's about synergizing those along with good positioning and taking what advantages you can from the environment. For example, the Drengo, which is the sword and shield class, can shield slam to push enemies around, and if you push 2 enemies into each other, they'll both gain the vulnerable debuff, which means they'll take 50% extra damage for the rest of this turn. Or the big 2-handed weapon class can do an attack that can hit up to 3 enemies in front of him, knocking them back as well, which can present various advantages. That same class can also do body slam, where you can literally run up and grab a guy and throw him on the ground, and if you succeed in making him prone, then he's gonna miss his next turn. The Berserker class can do a big 5-tile leap, which is great for getting behind enemy lines. You can jump over obstacles that are in your way and past enemy alerts, which is like their Overwatch. So a great flanker, good for getting after the enemy backline. The Archer class has a cripple shot, which will stop the enemy being able to move on their next turn, and Overwatch is especially effective with them. Every class can do Overwatch, but obviously it's a little bit better with the Archer, and they also have an AoE arrow rain attack as well. So that's just some of the abilities from some of the classes, and then like I say, there's lots you can do with the environment. You can create kind of shield walls, although we don't all have shields here, but you get the idea. You can utilize choke points and flanking. You can push enemies into parts of the environment, whether that's into their own boys, into fire, into slippery mud, which can make them prone. And there's an engagement mechanic which forces combat between two individuals, meaning they can't really leave that fight unless they get disengaged somehow, or they try to run away and risk an attack of opportunity getting them. And this opens them up to being flanked as well, so there's some tactics to be pulled using that mechanic. As some examples of strategic and tactical play, in this battle, I've kind of got two ways I can go. Down this right side, I notice there's two pelters, which is a ranged troop, very annoying, and this drummer that will buff all of the enemies up, so we want to get rid of them first. Down the left, it's all melee guys, so my plan is just to hold on the left, use my two shield boys just to block up this left side so none of these melee guys can get around behind us, while the rest of my herdmen push the right side heavy and try to get rid of all this stuff, sweeping around behind those melee guys. This plan worked pretty well. I was able to hold the left down, just hold one of the guys back that came forward, blast him in the side with arrows, and as planned, circle round and take care of the rest of these melee boys. As for some smaller scale tactics and synergies, here I've got my two shield boys coming up again, building a little bit of a shield wall, but the enemies are on alert in front of us, so if we run right up to them, they're going to get a free attack on us, so I'm going to use my Berserker to jump behind that alert, hit the guy that's putting the alert down, which is this other Berserker here, and now we've freed up these tiles, they're not red anymore, so our boys can run in, and guess who's running up? It's the guy with the massive axe that can twat two people, knocks him into another guy, gives him the vulnerable trait as well, kills one of them. A little further on, I'm going to move forward into that Berserker and give him a shield slam into my Berserker, who is right behind him, and what that's going to do is give my Berserker a free attack on him as well, so we get a bonus attack out of doing that. Although my Berserker's attack missed, but I do have Ram as well, which does a similar thing. Gonna punch him in there, but this one is repeatable, has a chance to miss though. But as you can see, we've managed to kill this Berserker, but Berserkers do Berserkery things, so because he's died now, he's now gonna do a big attack as he dies and damage everyone around him, like so, even his allies. So it's risky getting that close to Berserkers. Another synergy, this time with my Archer using Mighty Shot, which is going to knock the enemy back one tile, like so, as well as doing damage. Gives both of those guys vulnerable, so they're now going to take 50% extra damage. And guess who's going to take advantage of that situation? It's my big Axe Boy again. Going to give this guy a swift bonking on the head. Down he goes. Got another attack. Going to do it on this one. Going to get an Execution, which if you get one of these with a little cutscene, you actually get all of your AP back for that turn. So you basically get a free turn if you manage to get an Execution. So now my boy here can just keep on going. But then what do you know? He gets another Execution, so he's now got all his AP back once again. This can get pretty nutty. The Berserker is especially good for getting this. You just get Execution runs of like 5 people. It's crazy. Doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's nice. So that's Norse Oath of Blood. This game is out now at a pretty reasonable price, I think. There's a link in the description to check it out. One thing I feel I do need to mention is that the build of the game I did have was maybe a little bit older and was quite buggy. Mostly small visual bugs, so nothing major, but apparently there is going to be a big Day Zero patch that will hopefully resolve a lot of this. I'm sure Steam reviews will let you know otherwise, but if you want a nice, chill, story-driven, Viking-themed strategy game with dick jokes and battles that don't take your entire evening, this might be worth a look for you. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the future.